I'm not the Zodiac. And if I was, I certainly wouldn't tell you.
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house?
David Fincher's Zodiac is based on true case files and real events, and it is one of the few movies that deserves to be referred to as such. Before I get into this review, I think it's best I give some context into the history of the Zodiac Killer.
How can people be so heartless? How can people be so cruel? Easy to be hard, easy to be cold.
In 1968, the Zodiac murdered two high school students, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. It wasn't until 3 weeks after the 4th of July murder of Darlene Ferrin and the shooting of Michael Mageau that the Zodiac sent his first letter to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Examiner, and the San Francisco Chronicle, which is what the 2007 film focuses on. On September 27, 1969, the Zodiac murdered Cecilia Shepard and wounds Brian Hartnell at Lake Berryessa, which told the press that he had a pattern that they could follow, which was that the last two murders the boy survived and the girl didn't. On October 11, 1969, the Zodiac broke that pattern with the murder of Paul Stein, a cab driver. This murder got Dave Toschi involved. It wouldn't be until July 8, 1974, that the Zodiac letters stopped arriving at the San Francisco Chronicle. The Zodiac case is deprived of hope or closure. The Zodiac murdered 5 to 37 innocent people, and his reign of terror on San Francisco and Vallejo County left no answers as to whom committed the heinous crimes. Now on to the movie. David Fincher is known for his image-driven and innovative, meticulous directing work, and Zodiac shows all of that. This movie was beautifully filmed and has great acting from Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo. Every actor plays their part perfectly and without a hitch. David Fincher's use of CGI is absolutely brilliant. After watching this movie 3 times, it's still hard to tell that certain scenes have CGI or are complete CGI. He knows where to use it and when to use it, in a way that isn't jarring or takes you out of the movie. He uses CGI to make the film more true to real-life events. He'll use it in exterior shots and he'll use it in the blood effect. While Fincher does use every tactic imaginable to create realism, such as studying the case files, talking with survivors and the police, and having the real Robert Graysmith to help him out, there's still no way for 100% realism, so the murders are subjective to Fincher and the writers of the film, and they do take some artistic liberties and change minor sequences of events for dramatic effect. That being said, Fincher does take complete care of how he told the story, and he did all that he could to be respectful to the victims and to the city of San Francisco. Zodiac is a movie that takes its time, and it can feel the time dragging after the 1 hour mark. Not to say what's after that isn't great, because I think the movie is great the whole way through. But for those of you who are planning on watching this particular film, just be ready to sit through 2 hours and 42 minutes. If I have any gripes about the movie, it would be how leisurely things move after the 1 hour and 40 minute mark. That's not to say it wasn't warranted, because I believe that it was necessary for the plot, and for the film to have that. I just felt like some scenes dragged on a bit. Zodiac is a movie that grabs you from the get-go and never lets go. Even through the long scenes, you get wrapped up in Robert Graysmith's obsession and can't help longing to see what happens next. And everything that happens seamlessly, unlike this review, which is a bit incoherent. Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job at conveying Graysmith's obsession and plays his role extremely well.
You have to hear this.
No, I don't.
The first day was the one time that he was weak. The one time that he gave something away.
Robert, I am calling the police.
It's Arthur Lee Allen.
Mark Ruffalo does a fantastic job as Toschi. He's great at acting through body language, and he carries a large chunk of this movie.
Belinda, so I'm going to talk to Bob.
Robert, stop it.
What?
Okay, the Rick Marshalls of this world will suck you dry. They're blind alleys.
What? He said he wasn't going to announce his murders anymore, Dave. He was just going to do them.
Do you know what the chances of us arresting someone are now? Too much time has gone by, okay? Too much of the evidence is lost. People get old, Robert. They forget. I have been a cop for 25 years. Murder police for 12. What do you do for a living?
You know what I do for
You're a cartoonist.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying Zodiac was my job. It's not yours.
Robert Downey Jr. is great as always, and he's very entertaining to watch as Paul Avery, and he never misses a single beat.
Seemed too easy.
This can no longer be ignored. What is that you're drinking? It's an aqua velva. I wouldn't make fun of it if you tried it. But who actually cracked the code? A married couple who like puzzles. So what's that tell us about the Zodiac?
He's no expert.
Right, it's just a simple substitution code like the one that we used to do as Boy Scouts. A is 1, B is 2.
We were no Boy Scouts, Robert.
Well, it's not that hard. You just gotta know where to start, though. In the first cipher.
You actually carry that around with you?
Why?
No reason.
What's the most common double consonant in the English language?
Consonant?
The double L.
Double L.
And what's the one word that we know that he'll use in here at least once?
Kill.
Right, kill. So the Hardens start looking for double symbols, which they find here, here, and here, each with the same 2 symbols preceding them. So now they've got a repeating 4-letter word, ending with 2 symbols that they assume stand for L.
And since I think the whole word is kill.
And you got the K, you got your I, and you're on your way.
But how do you go from A is 1 and B is 2 to figuring out this whole cut?
Well, same way I did. You go to the library. In this book, the author presents a very simple substitution code in the preface. 8 of the 26 symbols that he suggests are found in this cipher.
But there are non-letter symbols, because there's all these medieval ones.
I thought they looked medieval too. But then I found a code written in the Middle Ages. Guess what it's called? The Zodiac alphabet.
Jesus. What do you want out of us?
What?
What's your angle? This is good business for everyone but you.
John Carroll Lynch as Arthur Lee Allen was mesmerizing. He does a fantastic job. He seems like he's known for his likable characters, but in this he balances guilty and innocence seamlessly, and he basically acts like a character who's acting.
Also, that day when I came home, my neighbor saw me. It was around 4, but I forgot to tell the other officer that.
Neighbor's name?
Bill White. He died a week or so afterwards. Heart attack, so I didn't think to call to follow up. The knives I had in my car with the blood on them, that blood came from a chicken that I killed for dinner.
I don't think a single actor does a bad job in this movie. Even the minor characters were great. Even the actors who didn't have a single line were great. Because Fincher is a perfectionist, everything is masterfully done. As I mentioned, all the acting is phenomenal, and the cinematography, which I haven't touched on yet, was beautifully done. And the sets and environments were well done too. The list goes on. A man by the name of Harris Savides did the cinematography, and it is done with such precision, with such care, and it was well thought out. I personally don't think cinematographers get enough praise for their work. Cinematography is more than just well-shot visuals. A good cinematographer can tell a story just by the images that he's showing to the audience. But you also need a good director to set the scene, the tone, and to tell you everything you need to know about the characters and just their visuals. And I think both the director and the cinematographer did a wonderful job in every scene that shows that, the basement scene in particular. The movie is written by James Vanderbilt and is based on true case files in the books Zodiac and Zodiac Unmasked by Robert Graysmith. The story is fascinating and the characters were very well written. While they are based on real people,
What are you, some kind of Boy Scout? Eagle Scout, actually, first class.
some liberties were made, and I think the liberties worked. The dialogue was written very well, the scenes were written very well, and Vanderbilt put some great humor into the script.
I worked here side by side for 10 years. His foot gets crushed in an accident, and the killings begin. Coincidence?
I don't know.
You're a cop, man. Do the math.
Have you considered the killer might be Paul Avery?
Frequently.
He did a great job adapting this story to film, and he did give a great deal of respect to the real-life people. Simply put, this movie is great in every aspect. Fincher does a great job, and so does everyone else involved. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I believe it is extremely underrated. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, and I recommend it to everybody watching. Thanks for watching.
Last time I saw this face was July 4th, 1969. I am very sure that's the man who shot me.
Thrown like a star in my vast sleep, I opened my eyes to take a peep, to find that I was by the sea, gazing with tranquility. Just then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing songs of love. Then when the hurdy-gurdy man came singing songs of love. Hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy is sad. Hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy is sad. Hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy is sad. Histories of ages past, unenlightened shadows cast down through all eternity, the crying of humanity. 'Tis then when the hurdy-gurdy man comes singing songs of love. Then when the hurdy-gurdy man comes singing songs of love. Hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy, hurdy-gurdy